Hey, it's Evan from Octane Electrons. Figured I'd do a quick video to show this. This was an interesting problem, and this maybe will help some people out. I'm using this FNIRSI, I don't know how you say it, but I bought a bunch of tools lately from this brand, and they're awesome. This is their mini pocket oscilloscope. But anyways, I'm going to show you how I used it to diagnose the problem. Maybe this will help somebody. This is my 94 FXR Harley, so Evo Harley motor. I rode this from Colorado here down to Mexico, Baja, last May, so not that long ago, 4 months, and left in California, and then my dad brought it back out here on a trailer on another trip. So anyways, ran great when I parked it, and I get it out here, and thing rolls off the trailer, and it just will not run right. I figured clogged carburetor from sitting, clean the pilot jet, go through that, and everything... it did have a clogged pilot. I thought, okay, that was it. It was kind of spinning, backfiring. Never did this. This is a great running bike with a new top end I did in May. Or not in May, over the winter before that trip. And anyways, so after ruling out carburetor, I realized, like, okay, it's got to be an ignition problem. That's what it was acting like. It was trying to run on one cylinder, barely running, backfiring. So I have an Ultima ignition in here. I've ran this ignition on mini bikes, and this one has been in this bike for probably 5,000 miles at this point. Always worked fine. I run it in the single fire mode. Ran perfectly on this bike for a long time. Okay, anyway, so I start looking at it like, okay, what's going on? Pull plugs, check spark. We'll show this. The camera doesn't pick it up great, but you can see we only have spark on one cylinder. So you can see we've got spark down there and not here. And that tracks to the blue wire front. I have it labeled front there. Pink is the rear cylinder, which is exactly what I was seeing when I was checking spark here at the cylinder. So, okay, we're not firing on one cylinder. So I realized, like, well, okay, so it's got to be, plug wires. So at this point, I'm not showing it now, but I've swapped different sets of plug wires. I've swapped different plugs. Doesn't matter what I do, always tracks that the rear, the pink wire trigger is firing, but the blue wire is not. And I thought, well, that's just strange. Like, I want to be 100% sure. So another thing I did just to make sure is I ohmed out or used my continuity on my meter between the blue wire here at the terminal, and then I jammed a little pick in the blue wire over here, right here, a little spot at the module, and I have great continuity and low resistance between those points. So that says I don't have a disconnect, so the wire is good. So at this point, it's looking like, dang, that is really just not triggering. But I feel like there's no way that failed. I want to be 100% sure. So this is what a little portable scope like this is awesome for. So I plug it in, set it up to some reasonable settings. So I'm looking at 5 volts per division because we're triggering a 12 volt coil, so I should be able to see it jump a couple lines every time it triggers. And 50 milliseconds is reasonable for like an idle RPM cranking. We should see plenty of pulses, and DC setting, and it's on auto triggering. So using a little scope like this, we should be able to see the pulse of the cylinder we know is working, which is right here, pink wire, rear cylinder. So I'm looking for ground there because that it triggers, pulses a ground to fire, and I should have positive on the white wire, which is from the key switch. So let's see what happens on the good cylinder. This is the one that's firing. Perfect, repeatable 12 volt trigger pulse on the good cylinder. So we can see that one firing the plug. We can see a perfect pulse here on the scope. Awesome, that's what I expect. Now, if this is what I was doing to verify it, because I just couldn't believe this was actually the case, thinking, no, it's got to be something dumb. But let's do the same thing. So now I'm going to hook up and look at the trigger on the blue wire, the one that is not firing. I'm going to leave my 12 volt, my positive to the white wire, and I'm going to hook my negative to the blue wire, so we should now see the same trigger pulse here if it was being fired by the module. Nothing. Just a little noise on it. And again, if I go back, just to verify and show you a good pulse, perfect trigger pulse. So at this point, that confirms it. I have a very weird failure of the Ultima module, which I've used lots of these. Never seen this before. It even passes its self-test, which you can see the little lights here. When you turn the key on, fires a spark, which I just heard the snap of, flashes the status light. When you turn it off, that green will flash on, red, off, green. So it passes its self-test, which who knows how thorough that is, but it does. It's supposed to fire both plugs, which I can hear the good one firing. But anyways, very strange failure of an Ultima ignition module. Never come across that. I've run these on lots of Harleys for lots of miles. Never had a problem. But the coil looms out good. And like I said, I'm not doing it now, but it tracks. If I swap these, like it's always the pink wire that is firing. Doesn't matter which plug wire I use, which plug I use. So we really do have a strange failure of an Ultima module. We have just the blue wire front cylinder has failed inside of the module. So we'll put in a new module, back up and running soon. But I thought I'd show this really weird failure. And this isn't like sponsored or anything. I just like these tools and like showing them. So this is that FNIRSI, which I'm going to show some of their other tools because they're awesome. But this is their mini pocket oscilloscope. I keep this around and use it for stuff like this because it's super handy to hook up on a bike or car or whatever, especially for ignition problems. All right, thanks for watching. See ya.